G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. It's raining. Hey! Yeah, look, overnight, look on the weather map and there's just a bit of rain coming across, and through the last week or so we've had showers and storms in the area. A bit spasmodic, but we were never under them, and we hadn't had anything. And so anyway, I come through last night, and after spending Saturday, I took the little tall tank off the stables, and I've been draining water from the big tank up the back, bringing it up on the forklift and dropping it in to the tank up here because we were getting that low on water. We could have bought some, I suppose, but there's a 5 or 6 week wait, depending on where you shop. Some say 3 weeks wait to get water, but we have 5,000 gallons up the back there. So yeah, we had some there. It was just a matter of jumping on the forklift and filling the tank, bringing it up. And I'd done 6 loads of that through the week, about 400 gallons each roughly, and so 2,500 gallons maybe. And yeah, I've been trying to keep off my knee. So and it was one of those jobs where up and down the forklift had fired it up a bit, but that's another story. But yeah, the rain overnight, both tanks on the house here are nearly half full. Earlier today we'd had 41 millimetres, and I just went and checked before the stew, and we've had another 5, so we're at 46 millimetres. So 52 millimetres is 2 inches. So we're coming up there. The tanks are actually a little bit over. Probably there's sections about so high on the tanks, and there's 7 and we're 4, so we're a bit over halfway. And the little 3,000 gallon tank, I think the ones on the house are 5,800 gallons, and there's a 3,000 gallon on the carport here. And the carport one's about 2/3 full, but I've got them all opened up now, so they're all joined together with pipes. I've got all the taps open, so the whole lot of them will come up together. Hopefully, I don't know how full they're going to get, but the whole thing is that the little tank here near the carport has the bigger roof area for the size of the tank. It's a little tank and it overflows quickly. So if I can leave the tanks open, there's an underground pipe, a 1-inch poly pipe under the ground. So if we can let that slowly come up as time goes along, they'll all come up. And if I keep an eye on them, and if by luck they get anywhere near full, I'll have to separate them again. I can leave the 2 on the house together. They'll overflow together, but this one here, I think this might overflow a little bit before the others. I'm not sure, but been that long I can't remember which went first, so we'll keep an eye on them. But I hopped up this morning, and there's a little video at the end, and I hopped up this morning and I thought I'll just check all the screens, because I had checked them about a month ago, but it's been blowing. The wind's been 40-50 kilometres an hour through the days. And I thought I'd better just check, because that's when leaves blow around. Well, look, they weren't bad. One on the house needed a bit of attention. It must have picked up most of the leaves from the bamboo out here. But the little tank here, I had a look and I thought, what's that up there in the tank, in this, in the screen with the going up one of the pipes? And I thought, that's a bloody snake skin. So I've pulled this snake skin out, and I've got a little video at the end of it. And it's an 8-foot carpet python, coastal carpet python we call them, or I think coastal python, but we call them carpet snakes. So yeah, there's a skin there, so he must have been up there in the warm shedding his skin. And look, it was only a little while ago I checked them all, but I did notice that the pipes coming down off the shed were pushed across a bit, and I thought, God, that's odd. I've got like a clamp there that holds them in place, but I need to make a bracket. It's another gunner thing. And so yeah, she's a beauty. So I got young Arrow out, and I was, hey, come and look at this. So we had a look, and well, then he pestered shit out of me. He wanted to take it to school for morning talk, for show and tell. And I said, well, hang on. So I got to film it first. I wanted to film it for you fellas. And I said, I got to have my show and tell. So then the bloody camera batteries went flat. I haven't charged them since last week, because I've been up here, and usually I'm in the habit of up the back there, just plugging them in. So you didn't get to take it to school today, but I've got it sort of hanging up on on the carport here drying out a bit, and we might, if his teacher says he can bring it in, we'll just put it in a ice cream container, and he can take this 8-foot snake skin into school for show and tell. So he was fiddling with it, and he said, "Oh, can I pull it apart?" And I said, "No, buddy, leave it in one part for us bit." And so anyway, there's a nice old 8-foot carpet snake around here somewhere. He'll be doing a good job. And we've noticed we haven't had any rats or mice or that around much, so he's probably doing a very good job. Who knows? We'll just see. What went on through the week? Well, I've been trying to stay off my bloody legs, and they've been giving me curry. And I went in last Wednesday and I got all the x-rays, and had to stand on this one with one leg back and the other leg back, and on the bed with knees bent and all that, and just so I've been there and had the happy snaps. And so a day or so later I rang the doctor and I said, "Oh, I need to make an appointment to have a look at these x-rays." And I'm with Dr. Longhurst, and they said, "Oh, you won't get an appointment with him for a couple of weeks." And I said, "Well, I'm normally with Dr. Shelton, but Dr. Longhurst saw me about my knee, so either one." They said, "No, they're both booked out. You'll have to make an appointment." But they said, "Your x-rays aren't here yet, so we can't do it until the x-rays are here." So they said, perhaps on Friday, see if there's an emergency one. And I said, "Well, it's not an emergency. I just want something happening because they've given me curry." And they said, "Oh, we'll see." And they said, "Oh, usually the radiology, I suppose it would be. They let you know when the information's at the doctor's, and you can make a booking from there." So far I haven't been able to make a booking to go and see about it. And I'm supposed to have one of these tablets night and one morning, plus my normal 6 Panadol Osteos, and it hadn't been cutting it. So I had an extra one of these painkiller things, and it seemed to help a bit. But then Saturday, up and down on the forklift, doing the water and just stepping up, that's the leg I step up on. Well, it fired it all up again. So I'm trying to stay put. Yesterday, Sunday, I went up and watered the trees up the back, but I've got a milk crate there that I can sit on now and hose away. And I've been going quite well in the little workshop here, scanning documents and putting them on the Bundy Bear Shed website. Now, the Bundy Bear Shed website is not live, not yet. I've spoken to the people hosting it. See, we had an old one, and I shut that down. It was just an old clunky looking thing, and we couldn't put anything else on it really, so we got rid of that. Then I've paid to have a whole new one developed, and it'll sell a couple of t-shirts and a hat and a stubby cooler. But what the story is like this Massey Ferguson 165 operators book. I'm trying to scan all them, get digital copies, and then for those who want to buy the books, I'm actually going to have all the books, once I've sorted them all out, all the books will be for sale on Bundy Bear Shed website. And instead of post here and post there and all that, we're just going to put them in the Australian Post packs. So each one, you can probably have one or two for both $13.50 or something like that. So anyway, that's a complete different story. I've got to get them on there first. So I've been talking to James from Catalyst, and I said, "I know it's not ready yet, but over the next few weeks, can we put it out there?" And while I've got to sit down and stay off my legs, I'll actually actively start putting stuff on, which I should have been doing ages ago. It's just I had other things that interested me, like the 65, and I just haven't been up this end to do it. So, but now I'm trying to rest up and rest my leg and all that sort of thing. Well, I'm finding it an ideal opportunity. So when I come home from work, I do come up in here now, and I spend the next, like I start at 6, I finish in at work at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in there somewhere, depending on what I've got done. And then I come home and I sit down here, and I sit down here till 5 or 6 in the evening, and just scanning books and cleaning up the files and all that. I found how to do some files, but I'm still having a little bit of trouble with, like this 165 one. I've got a sheet feeder up here, so I can feed this through on the sheet feeder. Away we go. And it does one side of the page, but then you put the other side of the page through, you turn them all over, well then you've got to bring the two files together, but it doesn't bring page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. It's got all the odd ones one side, all the even ones the other, so there's still some more to learn there. But I have found out how to blend them. I have found how to do the long pages. I've worked all that out now. It's got a function in there, ledger, where it does big pages. So that's working out well for the brochures. But yeah, I've done a heap. I had a heap done, and I've also done a heap more, but all the books over here are the ones that are done. But yeah, we're going to put operators' books, and like for a sample, this one here, that's the later Massey Ferguson 165 operators' book. This came from Bingara Sugar Mill when they closed it down there, and this arrived at Bingara Sugar Mill on the 13th of the 3rd, 1978. Well, this book here came from the same place, but this one got to the mill at 1966. So that's the idea of scanning both of them. You know, you can scan the early one and the late one and put it on there. So it's all for free, but you've got to buy the books if you want the paper copy, or else you'll have a copy with the Bundy Bear Shed logo across it, just at 25% opacity. I think that's it. And so if you just want the information, well, that's fine. So we'll go from there. Through the week I had a visit from Ian and Linda from Canada. They come over to Australia from Canada and made it their business to come up to Bundaberg and say good day and come into the office, and we sat and had a yarn for quite a while. It was great to catch up. Yeah, it was just nice to see him, have a yarn, and like he says, tractor people all around the world are very welcoming, and so they were going down to Tommy Hall and down. They had quite a few collections, the Rondane collection down Victoria, the Fords, and yeah, it was great to catch up with those people. Yeah, just happy people. Yeah, I suppose everyone's happy on holidays, eh? But that was good. On our Rum City Vintage Machinery Club, there's a thing going on with the councils, and this is for your blokes like Jeff Parsons and fellas like that are in a tractor club. There's a thing going at the moment where one time we could just drill a bit of a hole down and get a bit of 1/2 inch Rio bar with a top on it, bang it into the ground and put our fence on, you know, the safety fence to keep the public 1.5 meters away from our engine, sort of thing, just for safety's sake. And it's been like that for, well, I've been doing this for 25 years or something, going to shows, so it's been like that forever. We used to have big star pickets, and then they were getting too hard to thump in all the time in hard ground, so we got smaller ones. And what's going on now is the councils and the public, yeah, well, the councils really, they're saying they'd like us to come here and display, but no pegs in the ground at all. So they don't want the liability of forgetting where the wires are and we go through a wire or something like that. So I think in reality they should know where the wires are and say, well, there's a bit where you can knock your pegs in, because we need a safety fence, and there's not the budget or anything to have like a heap of farm gates that we can tie all together, like, you know, the big building scaffolding, because someone would have to go to the shed then, the club would have to have a big trailer with 20 of them on it, lunk them all together and get them all put up and get them all off, and at the moment we just put pegs in the ground, and we've been using that plastic mesh from building sites, and I've never been in favour of that. I reckon it looks rubbish, and just a bit of netting would be fine. We used to have netting, but the old blokes reckon it was too hard to wind up, so they went to this plastic stuff. But the tall bollards with the 6 kilo weight or the 8 kilo weight down the bottom, they tried that, hooking it on that, but down at Maryborough the wind got it and blew it over, because with this plastic mesh that they have on building sites, the big orange stuff, or orangey red, it'll be orange I think, it's got a fair bit of body in it, and it acts like a sail, and it blew over. So they're looking for another option rather than use these big plastic bollards. So I've sort of been thinking about that. At the ACRA meeting we had a yarn about it, and I've come up with a little fiddle here. Now I've got no idea. It'd be interesting to know what other clubs do in Australia with this, but I've made this little thing, and it packs up like that, but then when you want to use it, that can just swing around, and you put one of those weights on there, and the normal bit of pipe or bit of reinforcing bar, or it's just round steel, can go down here, and if no one's looking, we could smack it with a hammer and sneak it in there. But yeah, we could have that, put the weight on the top, then when it's time to pack up, pull the bar out the top, roll up the wire, whatever, and fold this up. This should be welded. I haven't welded it yet. I've just got a nice knock-in fit, and this top piece can't come off because I've machined this. I've machined a little shoulder here, so it slides on, but it can't come off and get lost. So, and that's what I've come up with yet. I've been talking to my mate Brian Schilling, and he's thinking of getting some of those weights with a bit of down pipe with a bit of concrete with a hole in it, just for the extra weight sort of thing. But anyway, at the meeting, I'm going to take that along just as my take on it, because we can't put pegs in the ground, and it'll have a weld around here. I probably should have that flat, so if we ever need to put a fence up on concrete in a pavilion or something like that, it's not rocking around. So that's what I've got at the moment, and I was thinking of even putting a run of weld down here each side, but then once you start bringing stuff there, you need to have a bigger gap at the top. And at the moment, look, it moves a little bit, but if you had this end out the front, well, that's fixed to here with the weight on it, so I think it'll be okay. But look, that's just something I've been fiddling with in the shed here. If other clubs in the country have got something else going on like that, where the local authorities are saying, no, you can't, you got to have a fence, and we're happy to have the fence. It's just, yeah, you're not allowed to knock any pegs into the ground. It's got to be fully freestanding and all that. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you that and see what happens. I went into Bunnings the other day, and I bought this little vise. It's a great little thing. It works like a beauty. And these are just for up here. Often on my workbench here, well, it helps me to sit down too. I can clamp this to the bench. I can get something. I can give it a file or a cut or whatever, or fettle it. And then another thing I picked up there which I enjoyed, was this little fella. And look, they're only Stanley. They're not industrial quality, but this has got a little ball, and you can sit it round anywhere you like and then lock it up. And I thought, well, just for making bits and pieces in here, I can clamp this to my table. There is threads up here for screws, and I am thinking of putting it right on the end there, putting it there permanently. And yeah, this one was $58, I think it was. Yeah, $58, and yeah, it's got a V in the jaw for a pipe this way and a one that way. And they're not for building bloody tractors with. They're just for, when you got a little pin you want to machine down, or you want to file something or do something. They're light duty, but I do have a bigger, like I've got mill vices there. I've got a stand-up vice over there, a 5-inch. I've got a drill vice here. But oftentimes you just want an extra pair of hands to hang on to something and while you're buggering around with it. So that was this week's purchase. A couple of El Cheapo. Well, they're not. This fella here, you can sort of change where the things are, or bolt it down. Well, I won't bolt it down. I'll keep it so I can take it up the back to my woodworking bench as well, particularly this one. So that's not a bad thing. I reckon it'll certainly be handy for what I'm doing here. And while I'm supposed to be sitting here just behaving myself, I've got to do something. I can't sit in the kitchen. I've bloody get fat enough bloody trying to behave myself. So the weekly specials. So this week we're going to do the rear axle half shaft seal and bearing kits, and we're going to do two different ones. Okay, the 35135 kit, they share the same seal, outer seal. So it comes with the outer seal, the inner axle seal, the outer bearing, and the shrink collar. that comes with those. There's not much money in them normally, but I've been able to pull a bit out. They'll be somewhere around $100 plus freight. And the TE20 ones, I'll talk to you about them. There's a for some reason, and this is how silly the parts game is sometimes, to buy the TEA kit with the outer seal, the bearing, the collar and the inner seal, it's probably 110. It's a little bit dearer than the other one, where the bearing's small, the seal's smaller, everything's bloody smaller. But so what we're going to offer is the 35135 kit. The cheapest way to buy it is as the kit with the bearing and all. I can probably offer you just the seals, but it's sort of pointless because to put the inner axle seal in is fine, but to get the outer axle seal, you've got to pull the bearing and pull the shrink collar off, and these tractors are 60 years old, 35135, 50 years old, 60 years old. Most of them have never been touched, so they probably need a bearing. The TE20 ones, the early 16 spline tractors, they don't have the inner seal. They just have the outer seal. So you can either, so we'll offer the shore seals, where they're the ones where you leave it all together, pump it with grease and put the shore seal on, but that only works on the 16 spline. Or the axle kit, the whole thing with the outer seal, the bearing, and the inner seal. They come with the inner seal whether you have it or not. So that's just the cheapest way. The parts companies or the suppliers to us resellers, they have it so you buy the kit really. So if it's to do with, not brakes this time, if it's to do with rear axle bearings and seals on a TE20, TEA, TED, TEF20, all the other TEL, TEPs, all them. If it's to do with the rear axles on them, you have to email bundybearsshed@gmail.com and say, hey Lance, I'd like the deal. What is the deal? And then if you have a 35135, just the bearings and axle seals, the half shaft seals, we're going to try and knock a bit out of them. Some of the mudguards, we were knocking $100 a mudguard out. And we weren't making jack shit on it, but it's just get them out there, like it's a bit of fun. And these here we can't take as much out because it's a competitive market out there, and some of the blokes on eBay at the moment have got them out there and they haven't changed their price in years, so their pricing's out of date, way out of date, but that's fine. That's what's out there, so you're a nut if you don't, you're just silly if you don't buy the cheapest option when you're doing your tractor. So we're going to try and grab those sales with these specials and give you a good deal at the same time. But yeah, keep the emails coming. They've been quite interesting on what you have coming up or what you'd like coming up in the specials. It's for Australia only, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a sad tale, but it's just how it is. But last week with the mudguard skins, no one wanted one. We sold the safety guards the week before, and we sold the clamshell guards the week before that. They went really well. The next week was slowed down a bit, and last week just nothing. I think people are scared of putting the shell on, so no one even inquired on price. So this week, I'm sorry, it's TEA, Fergie 35 and 135, and probably 240. Massey uses the same ones maybe. So yeah, hit us up for that. There will be a deal going, but we're probably only $10 or something cheaper, 10 or 15 cheaper maybe. I don't know, than out there. I had a look on Friday to try and get my ducks in a row and find the cheapest pricing I could get. And yeah, there's some there that the people wouldn't be making 10% on them. They're silly pricing, but that's how it is. So yeah, we won't retire on that one. Oh, young Freya. Freya's going really well. Now, she got discharged from hospital last week, but they weren't allowed to come home. They wanted her to stay in Brisbane until they got the stitches out because she was fiddling with them a bit. I think I may have told you that. But today, Monday, they had an appointment in the hospital, and they were, all being well, they were going to take the stitches out and if that was okay, there was no fear of infection or anything like that, they were going to pack them up and send them home. And yeah, they still have to go for checkups every so often, but we are expecting them home this week, all being well. And look, she's just been going great. So yeah, that's a great little yarn there. She's come through nicely. While I've been not supposed to be doing stuff, I have been doing stuff, but in at Tim's house, before they went away this last time, I'd been in the time before when they were away, when she had that sepsis. I went and sanded all the front door and all that. So each weekend I've been in doing something, and I've just finished it. Just finished it on Sunday morning. Yeah, yesterday morning. I went in and finished it, and it's all ready for them to come home. They probably won't even notice. But yeah, it was just, I don't like going there when they're there, sort of thing, when they're doing their thing. So hopefully that's done for a while. It's tidied up. I've put the sprinkler on the gardens a bit for them, just to make it a bit green. And I did take a little video. It'll be at the end of the video on the doors. And look, they've come up nice. That's all we need to do. The weather strips with a little brush down the bottom, they're plastic, and they've got this stick-on stuff on the back, like a double-sided tape, and I wasn't that keen on that, so I went and got some stainless steel screws, and I put 3 stainless steel screws in each one. So the door's done. I can forget about that for a while, which that was something else. I'm bloody hobbling around, taking a milk crate in there so I can sit down and reach as high as I can to do everything, and so I'm sitting, not standing. So that's happened. I've done that. And I bought another tractor. Fancy that. Yeah, look, there was an orchard out west of us here a couple of hours, and they had a thing on one of the Facebook posts on, they were customers of ours anyway at Queensland Tractor Spares, but we just didn't know that they had these tractors for sale. And Ken put a thing out that said, oh, there's these tractors for sale, and where's the best place to get an idea on price and all that. So there was an auction in town here recently, and people went nuts. Like, there was 35s out of an orchard with no linkage arms, no nothing, and they were going for like $6,000 and things like that, where, in my mind, that's a $3,000 or $4,000 tractor. And anyway, I sort of said, where are you blokes? And they said, oh, just west of Bundy there for a couple of hours. So anyway, we set up a dialogue in the background, and there was one there that took my fancy because I've never owned one before. And so they sent me some photos of it. I'm yet to go and pick it up. Me camera timed out again. Yeah, so they, about west of us here, they had this tractor that I'd never owned before. And so I sent them a message. We worked out a price. Look, I think it's a fair price. And yeah, they had the linkage arms off the back, and they went and found them for me. So they're there, and they told me that the power steering on it leaks and the hydraulics don't lift, because the hydraulics, being a tractor that just towed picking trailers around the farm, they don't have linkage or nothing on them, but the linkage is there, but they just don't get used, and things rust and they stick. So so the rear arms don't actually work on it at the moment. So I thought, well, I've never owned one like that, and it'd fit in with what I had nicely, and I had a bit of money in my pocket from selling Goldie, so I've bought it. And this next week I've got to go and pick it up. But it's a Massey Ferguson 20. Now the 20, there's a couple of photos I'll put in along here, and a Massey Ferguson 20 is more or less an industrial 135, Massey Ferguson 135, but it's the industrial tractor. It's a straight axle model. They're a bit heavier in some regards, but I've never owned one, and I thought, oh, I had been looking for a 35 industrial. I just liked them. I got a few 35s, and I thought industrial. And anyway, I decided I'd never owned one of these, and I'd like to own a yellow one. So I've bought it. I have to arrange with them to go and pick it up this next week. So hopefully next Stew, you'll have a tractor to walk around. But yeah, there's a bit of a slideshow here. And yeah, so I've bought it, paid for it, it's mine. And they got on to me and said, oh, glad you bought it, Lance. We'll we'll treat it like our own still, and they've put it in. They put it in out of the weather and all that until I get there. So that's great. They've got quite a few other tractors there, 35s. I think there was a couple of 135s. There was certainly some 35s. And yeah, it looked like a couple didn't have bonnets and knick-knacks, so I'll have a look. If there's anything else interesting, might end up with some more, who knows. But if not, we might just have a look at some of them, you know, have a walk around with the camera. I don't know. I don't know if they're up for that or what. But yeah, sold Goldie to get some more room. So I've filled, and the Bedford, but yeah, but I've slid another tractor into Goldie's spot by the look of it. So yeah, I wasn't really in the market. I just thought, well, geez, I've always wanted an industrial one, so bugger it, I'll just buy it. So and look, the price was fair for what it is. We know we've got to work on it, and that's a plus when you own Bundy Bear's Shed, the YouTube channel. I don't know when we're going to get to it, but who knows. But it's one of those things, like it starts and runs. You can drive it around. You can do all that with it now. Just getting the hydraulics working would be an interesting thing, just to see what's going on there. I've still got to do the hydraulics on Judy's 148. I have the carryall strapped up to the roll frame. And yeah, Judy was using it on the weekend. She went and got a heap of grass that I'd slashed and mulched around the orchard trees for us to stop the heat drying them out so much. So yeah, so a couple of jobs ahead, but I hit the painkillers up and I start feeling good, and I think, oh, I'll just whiz up here and do that, and just whiz up and do that. Then I find I've got to go and sit down again because it just gets a bit much. And so I had that knee brace on my other knee here, but I don't know how this works, but that knee brace on my right hand knee, it stirs the left one up, so it must be just setting me different, something like that. I don't know, but I'm pretty keen to see what's going on, get the painkillers cranked up, or yeah, if it's that meniscus broken or fallen apart, well, I would be keen to have a surgery and get the broken bits out, because I've got both knees now, and as I walk it goes click pop, click pop. Not every step, but some, yeah, a fair few. So I would be keen to get them done, but it's just everything in the medical system's wait around, and yeah, you can't get anything done in a hurry. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But look, I've rambled on enough for this week. The main news is a new tractor, woohoo! Freya coming home, and yeah, the rear axle seal specials. And I know Trevor Leeson, Trevor Glass out here, he's sweating on them. So we'll see how we go. But all right, we'll catch you next week, everyone. Thanks for dropping by, and yeah, hopefully we go and pick up a tractor, and I'll see you next week. Well, there you go. That's what I've been doing over the last couple of weekends. That door was all sanded back, all the frame and all that was all sanded down, and so I've got the door painted, I've got the step painted. Very dusty there at the moment. Like that was painted brand new, fresh last Sunday, and all the dust in that at the moment. It's so dry, and yeah, with the mat and that. So I've just finished putting the weather strip down the bottom there. That's supposed to be stick on, but you can see those stainless steel bolts there, screws there. I didn't want to rely on the stick on stuff, so I screwed them on, as well as the stick on stuff. So there you go. Yeah, sounds like the kids are going to be home early in the week, so that's all done out of the way for them. Wow, look at this beautiful rain. So we've had a bit over an inch so far, and it's nice and steady. I've got the cruiser out there having a bath. Usually the poor old ute, it doesn't get a bath when water's low, so yeah, I've got it out there. But on this little tank over here, I was just checking the strainers this morning, and this is what I found. So it's a big old carpet python skin, and he's just on 8 feet long. So yeah, he's a beauty, nice and wide. So yeah, you can see the little flecks and all that there, and there's the big scales under his belly. So old mate's hanging around here somewhere, and Yeah, that's no worries at all. Yeah, when we straighten him out, he comes to pretty well close to that 96 inch mark. So 2.4 metres. So yeah, the grandkids are here at the moment and the young bloke wants to take him to school tomorrow. So I might hang him up and let him dry out and yeah, put it in an ice cream pot so we can take it to school for show and tell.